Explain your pressure into getting that many gifts for Easter. You said as Easter turned into Christmas. Are you getting, or do other parents buy that many gifts for their kids on Easter, or did you just feel like you needed to?
I don't know where that came from because last year, like, Lisa's like, I really want to get this thing for the boys for Easter. And I'm like, okay. It was like a $200 racetrack for Mario. And then I usually get them like a bunch of small stuff. So like we had the small stuff and this racetrack. But Lisa wanted this racetrack for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know
So
why.
she loves the holidays though, right? So she's a big holiday person. So I think
Yeah, but
it makes
not so
sense.
much Easter. There's no like you like I tried playing Easter music today and it's like
What does that even sound like?
it was like fruity, like really Christian music. And then I'm like, I guess I want more of the Catholic mass, like, kind of off
Hallelujah,
key singing
where
and
they
like
sing
organ.
Hallelujah a
Yeah.
billion times. Every song's got Hallelujah in it.
Yeah. And then I listened to that. And then my kids changed it and said Alexa played But. And then a butt song. So that's where we ended up.
I stay home alive, no TV, just thoughts and a heap of good weed. Same jeans, same old Converse, baked tees and the Wally, so works. I'm cool, some niggas mad at it. Look at it from the outside, fantastic. Can't keep the negative alive.
Did your kids have the idea to get that racetrack, or was it purely Lisa's?
Lisa. But it's a Mario. It's like a Mario Rainbow Road. They like Mario.
Okay, I thought that'd be a nice segue because do you guys remember how enticing those commercials during kids' television were? Like every commercial during Nickelodeon, like you had to have whatever toy that was on screen.
Oh yeah, and it's my kids never really see commercials now, but when they do, it's the most interesting thing especially when you're on like Disney, regular Disney. It's the most interesting thing they've ever seen. Like it's crazy how well you can see it work in a human.
Compared to like the average YouTube video commercial they see,
Yeah.
where they're probably like, they'll be watching Blippi and then it'll be like, sign up for Grammarly.com. It's just like the targeting is still not quite there on YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Well, I say we get into it unless, Owen, you have something you want
Yes,
to talk about.
before we get into it, I have a little Easter egg for you guys. So if you guys look at your phones and check, you should have a notification from Venmo.
I do.
$1.74.
So if you remember back for Christmas, I gave you guys a share in the investment that I made that I bought for $6.50 at Goodwill.
What was our share percentage?
You guys got one share each. So there's five total shares. I got 3 of them. You guys got the other 2. I sold the football for $8. Well, it was $10, but I had to ship it to New Jersey. So I got $8.71 back. So I cashed out and gave you guys your shares. And I kept my 3 shares.
As minority shareholders at almost 40%, we don't have any say in the final sale.
This isn't how this works.
Okay. Did you bring this to the board?
I tried my best, and that's what we're getting. So finally sold the football, and I'm shocked that I actually sold it because it's been, I don't know how many months, 4 months.
So you had it listed this whole time?
Yeah, I never took it off. And one guy's like, I want to buy this guy named Phil in New Jersey wanted to buy my football. And I said, great. And so I had to ship it to him. So I had to technically I probably ended up losing money because I had to get a box. I had to tape up the box and I had to drive to the post office to drop it off. But
yeah, how did you ship a football for $1.75 or whatever?
So through Offer Up, they just take a % of the actual shipping. They give you the label and all that, so you just ship it off. So I lost a few bucks.
Kind of sad.
Total.
Dude, tomorrow you're gonna wake up and you're gonna look at the market for footballs. It's gonna be fucking sky high.
Well, Kevin gave me another one for Christmas, so I do have another football. So I didn't sell off all my shares in footballs. Still have some.
If you didn't have that, I would guess that like tomorrow's the day that like one of your kids comes home from school and is just like, I just watched football at recess. Like I'm ready to
shit.
let's get into what we're talking about, because Owen, I'm pretty sure you made some kid happy out there in New Jersey.
It was a really old guy named Phil. So I don't know what his plans are. If he wants to resell it himself, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just
imagine he's connecting with his kid finally. That's 50.
All right, well, that's still a good segue, because now this creepy guy out there has a football. And today we are talking about Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids TV, now streaming on Max, an ongoing 5-part documentary television series that details the behind-the-scenes world of children's television, mainly the late 1990s to early 2000s, with a special focus on Dan Schneider and his tenure as producer and showrunner on Nickelodeon. Whew, that was a mouthful. Did I cover it all?
Yes.
How much of this have you watched so far, Dennis?
I think I've seen all of them. The 4th episode, I'm not really sure if I finished. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the 5th one's not out yet. It's like a special.
It's not?
No, yeah, they just announced it like last week that they have like a 5th follow-up. I think just because it got
so much
viral.
Hype.
Yeah, they wanted another one.
They probably got a bunch of people who are like, want to speak up now. Like, people saw whatever we saw, and they're like, "Oh, I have some stories to add in." But I've just watched the first 3, but okay. I am amped to watch the next one. And
I am too. I just finished watching it right before this podcast, so I did what you guys said: watch number 1 and 3 to do the podcast. So I have to go back watch 2, 4.
Was that a good strategy, Kevin? I feel like
2's a little in the weeds. It didn't seem that necessary. The whole point of 2, which maybe we can talk about this later, it really does a good job of building up to 3. So, but yes, great strategy. Just 1 and 3 are really the most important, but definitely worth going back and watching. But let's not get too deep into the weeds on this yet, because as 2 proud fathers over there and 2 Nickelodeon boys grown up in the late 90s, early 2000s, we're going to talk a little bit about our experience with children's television and Nickelodeon specifically. Oh, and you had cable, right?
Yeah. Why do you think I didn't have cable?
Because
George was the only one that didn't have cable.
You've talked about it on pod that like you barely had a Sega Genesis, and
that's true. I guess that's a fair question then. But I had a cable. Took me a while to get the Disney Channel, I will say that. So that was later on. But I think that was pretty common because it wasn't with just your standard cable. You had to get special cable that had a TV box. Mine was plugged in from the wall.
I think once you got the TV box, it was a shoe-in. But yeah, for a long time, you only got like channels 1 through 68, 69. Dennis, cable?
Yes,
he had it
cable.
all, dude. He had every channel.
I didn't have it
He
all.
had HBO. No one had HBO other than Dennis.
My parents did have HBO because I remember a few times them watching TV and
saw some
I had to close my eyes. Yeah. While I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
My family had cable for the most part of growing up, but there was a 2 or 3 or 4 year stretch where it wasn't like a financial thing. I think it was like just some statement by my parents. They're like, "We're sick of paying for this," or something.
It is ridiculous. Yeah.
I just remember watching so much Seventh Heaven during that time of my life. Do you know Seventh Heaven? It was just like...
I forgot about that. I never got into that show.
It was what they played after school. So you would like kind of be the go-to.
Kevin's family is a big, like, of the 3, what are those called? Like the 3 camera sitcoms or whatever. The traditional studio set sitcoms. I feel like your family loves that sort of stuff.
Dennis, did you get a ring light?
I've had one. It's on a lot brighter than normal.
I could tell. It's reflecting off the back of it's reflecting off of your picture in the back.
Yeah, I've had.
What is this face you're making while you're doing this? Is that your mirror face?
It's my mirror face, yeah.
Damn, busted. Oh, man. I've heard, but there's this trend that's going around where people say what channel Nickelodeon was and Disney Channel was for you guys.
I know it.
What was your? I know it too. I'm sure it's all the same for us. But what was Nickelodeon? What channel was Nickelodeon for you, Kevin? And which one was?
Let's let Dennis go first.
Yeah, because if you know it, I feel like it's in the 60s. And I want to say 64.
What was 64? What channel?
I feel like 64 was Disney and 65 was Nickelodeon.
That's what I remember.
Really?
64 Disney, 65 Nickelodeon, 67 Comedy Central, 66 Cartoon Network, Adult Swim.
Yeah, because they were all like by each other. The channels I would watch, like in high school at least.
42 MTV, 43
44
MTV2.
VH1.
This is wild because
49 E.
Yeah, 49 was E. You love the soup.
I love the Howard Stern show, baby, at night.
33 was TBS. Owen, sorry for throwing you off with all this.
I must have had the poor man's cable. So Kevin, back to what you asked me if I had it, because Nickelodeon channel for me was 23.
Oh, I remember that.
Cartoon Network was 24. Then you had it was like 28, 29. 28 was E, 29 Comedy Central, 30 VH1, 31 MTV, 47 was Disney. But what was channel 89 for you guys? Do you remember?
I would think it was the staticky porn.
Because I remember
channel 89.
Certain people had this, the cable with the Technicolor porn.
We had Huawei, Wide Open West.
Yeah, I don't think we ever had that.
Yeah,
I was always jealous of those people because during high school, a lot of people in my high school had Cox cable, and every week they would air a basketball game, like a high school basketball game. And one week they aired one of mine, and I scored 18 points that game, but I never got to see it because I didn't have the cable channel or the cable network. So I still, if anybody has that footage, Padua versus Holy Name 2009. Dig it up, please. I'd love to see it.
18 points, Kevin. High school basketball game. That's
pretty
highest
good.
I've ever scored.
What was the normal score for your team total in high school? I don't remember. Like in the 40s?
No, way higher. I would say closer to 60.
Okay. So man, that was 1/3.
But there were guys on my team who, averaged 12, 14 points a game. I probably averaged 5 points a game in high school.
What position?
Center.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was always 6'1", guarding like some 6'9" guy from Cleveland Central Catholic who was going to Division I college. All right, we are way off track. All right, let's start with Owen on this one. So I know, let's start with me on this one because I watched so much television growing up. I watched Nick at Night, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, TBS, TNT. Like, I grew up on TV. Excuse me.
You crying, tearing up over there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really shaped my life. It's shaped my life. I would guess if I went to school for 20 hours a week or whatever it was, 35 hours a week, I would say I probably watched another 30 every week of television throughout my childhood. Owen, how much do you think you watched?
Fuck, I couldn't even guess. I watched a lot, but we were kicked outside most of the time. But you said you were a latchkey kid, so you'd come home no supervision until your parents got home. Parents were always home, so we had to be outside. Then we had to do homework. I got a couple hours probably in each night.
I feel like my TV time was more video games. I don't think I watch as much TV as compared to you guys playing video games.
Yeah, you were playing Halo 24/7.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
Dennis,
bad.
Definitely though, after 6th grade, right? It was pretty much all video games for you.
Free time was video games and movies, maybe. Not really. Or the show Futurama. I remember I watched that every day.
Wow, really?
Yeah. But yeah, mostly video games.
Okay. But you did watch Nickelodeon growing up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I still watch TV.
I thought you were going to say you
still watch Nickelodeon?
Still watch it, I don't even know what's on there now. I can't even think of one show. SpongeBob, Camp Life, it's called.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's basically just a more differently animated version of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
No, I can recall an average day for me, 8th grade. It would be get home from school, watch an hour of Friends, hour of King of Queens, hour of Everybody Loves Raymond, hour of just whatever it was on.
The
until
TBS lineup. I remember it was because I would watch that too. Seinfeld.
Yeah.
King of Queens.
And I was still even out of a guilty pleasure, even in 8th grade, I was still watching some of the random Disney Channel shit and Nickelodeon shit. So I've seen all this Drake and Josh.
Really?
So it's blows my mind to have seen how well put together he looked in that show versus how traumatized he was prior to filming
I remember watching Drake and Josh, but only I think because my brother was watching it and he's 2.5 years younger. So I feel like that show is right on the fringe of our generation.
It was definitely for people 4 years younger than us.
I was going to say, I never tuned in. it would come every once in a while. I'd just be like, I have nothing else to watch, so that was on, and I'd put it on, but I would not be paying attention to it.
But you guys watched the Amanda Show, right?
Yes, definitely.
And I was thinking about that show, and I just remember not liking it, especially the part where they go, "Bring in the lobsters," and the lobsters they dance. Even back then, I'm like, this is not. I don't get
the whole shtick was just randomness.
Damn, I fucking loved it.
I mean, I didn't hate it. There were some funny sketches on it.
Dan
like the
Schneider,
prank call
smart guy. He's good.
The prank phone call guy that they would do, where they would be like, they would just like prank phone call somebody. The guy would be like, "What? What?"
Yeah, oh god, I hate that.
Oh shit, I love that. How are we?
I guess I feel like looking back now, those sketches, they tell you the sketch within the first 10 seconds, and then it's like that for 3. It's like a worse SNL where SNL does a sort of thing where it drags.
I think
it's like that.
I think the thing is why Dennis, why you didn't like it, or Kevin, you didn't like it, and why I liked it is I was pretty sheltered in the fact that you guys were allowed to watch like The Simpsons, and you were able to watch Family Guy. That was not allowed to be on in my house, so I had to watch like the real dumbed down version of stuff, and it was hilarious.
I had some limitations. I wasn't allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy.
Really?
Yeah, that show is just so fucked up.
It is fucked up. It's not even. I hope we get into that when we're starting to pick our top 5. But that show was like never
unsettling.
enjoyed. Yeah, never enjoyed it when I was little. It's like this is fucking fucked up and gross.
Rocko's Modern Life was the same too, and that show I watched a ton of. I loved that show, but it was some twisted shit.
I don't know. I think I kind of like Rocko's Modern Life.
Well, you'll see on my list where Rocco's at.
Let's see those notes, Dennis. Let's see those notes.
I do have notes.
How do we want to do this? How do we want to pick our top 5 Nickelodeon shows? I think we just
quickly say them and then...
Yeah, let's just do one person at a time. I want to hear Dennis's list first.
In a row in your top, or just like, are we going to draft?
Yeah, no, why don't we do one at a time? Not draft, but let's all just reveal one of our picks at a time.
Okay.
I think we're going to have pretty similar lists.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like this show on Nickelodeon was the show I remember the most, being the littlest and liking, like one of the first shows that I can remember liking, and it's Rugrats. Yeah. I feel like I loved
Rugrats. I watched so much of it. Didn't make my list, but it really? Definitely is probably at least 1,000 hours watching
Rugrats made my list too, because that was the shit growing up.
Yeah. I feel like it's the first sort of cartoon that I can consciously remember watching.
Same.
And every once in a while, something will come up in real life where like I'll think about Rugrats in my head. I always think about this one episode where Tommy's dad gets rich and he sends him to a different school and one of the kids at the school, his dad is Pat Sajak from Wheel of Fortune. And I'm like,
I don't remember that.
It was just this really random thing that I think about all the time.
I remember
and it
that
had like
episode.
A really cool slide.
And they were eating caviar that was like someone spit the caviar into a plant. It was like Angelica's mom or something. I remember that episode.
I think that's a good point though, leading up to like when we talk about Dan Schneider, is like some of the stuff that you love most as a kid is because we've talked about this before, like it was adult humor and it was just flirting the line of like between kids and adult, and that's what made you like it, probably.
Yeah. And the one episode I just want to say this, the one episode of Rugrats that I remember is, I think about it probably at least once a month or every time I see a watermelon, where they eat he eats the watermelon seed and they go inside his body and like try to get the watermelon seed because the watermelon will grow in his belly.
Yeah.
It's real. I tell my kids that.
Man, I think about there's one where the one parent is trying to get a like better way to clean his ears. And is it the rich
that's
one?
That's the same episode. Okay. Yeah.
I think about that, and I think about when Stewie falls off the roof and he turns into a kid and he's wearing a bed sheet.
Oh yeah. That one's kind of disturbing.
Who's Stewie?
The dad. Dad.
That one
Dad
is
Rugrat.
disturbing.
Stewie Rugrat.
Right, he starts hanging out with the kids.
Yeah. They call him Stu, though, right?
Yeah, but he's like, I'm Stewie. Yeah, he acted,
That is some twisted shit. Okay. Ugh, that's weird now.
Yeah,
I remember
he's
wearing a diaper. Yeah.
It's kinky stuff, man.
He's got that purple hair.
All right, Owen, what else? What else was on your list?
Gotta calm down a little bit. What else is on my list? Kenan and Kel.
Oh,
Kenan
yeah.
and Kel was on my list.
That was on my list too.
That show was the best. It came on, I think, after all of that. So like the Saturday night or Friday night list of shows, that was the best. It was like Nick at Night. Kenan and Kel came on that.
Kel Mitchell was my hero growing up. He's everything I ever wanted to be.
And you were kind of like him, Kevin. So that worked out.
Yeah.
It's one of the only shows where I felt like I was cool watching it. Like one of the first shows, at least, that I felt cool watching.
What episode do you think of first? The first one I think of is when they were trying to climb the Sears Tower.
That's what I was thinking of.
To profess love to some girl.
Yeah. Or I think of they invent the cure for the common cold in one of them. And Kel invents it. And they try to recreate it and they can't. It involves orange soda.
There's another famous episode
of course.
Where they're trying to sue some company because there was a screw in the tuna.
Oh, and then there was a screw?
No, Kel confesses, I put the screw in the tuna.
Yeah. Shit.
Man, I honestly, I can't recall a single episode of it, though. And I watched a ton. But I'm like trying to think of my favorite one.
It's crazy that Kenan's still on SNL, but people have talked about that enough. I'm going to pick one. I had that on my list.
We're not even going to touch on
shut
that
the
shit.
fuck up.
You have anything else you want to say about Kenan and Kel?
Well, Kenan's on SNL, so no, not really. But that show is the coolest. Kel, I have no clue how Kel's career didn't explode after that, and somehow Kenan's just stayed steady Freddy.
I think as a kid, Kel's performance was something but if you look back now, I bet Kenan's more funny to us.
To be able to be the straight man.
Yeah.
That's a lot more
Wait,
skill.
Kel was gay in that? Is that what you're saying? To be the straight man, you said?
No, yeah, like a...
You never heard of that term?
It's dead serious, no.
Straight man just means like one person's an oddball, the other person's just like the straight man, like the normal guy, just trying to
almost 1 year of doing like entertainment none of us have mentioned that. Or every time Owen just thinking that
like, oh shit, I didn't know the other guy was, I didn't know the other guy was gay. I didn't know that. No.
To be a straight man in that stressful situation, I look up to that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we should just try to knock out 5 of our favorites. So right now we both have those on our list: Rugrats, Kenan and Kel. My first thing that comes on my list, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That was on my list.
Show.
Yeah,
it was on my list.
It was just so. I still love shows like that to this day. Those anthology series where they just like one
Mirror.
Episode at a time. Yeah, Black Mirror. There's one on AMC called Creep Show that I randomly have watched a few episodes of. I just love a good like short story.
I'm wondering how scary Are You Afraid of the Dark is now.
I
to
bet
like
you could
rewatch
find
it.
one that's scary. I bet you could find one that's pretty scary because that was messed up.
There was times where I'd be like, I'm not sleeping. So
oh yeah, I think I'm discovering Nickelodeon's like your introduction to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like sketch comedy, horror movies. Like this is probably the first little babies, you know.
Like a sitcom. It was kind of like a sitcom. What episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark do you think of first, Owen?
I'm thinking of Goosebumps. So I was thinking of the one where
might be too.
When the mask gets stuck on her face in Goosebumps.
Same concept.
I just remember in Are You Afraid of the Dark when they put out the fire, are they dumping water on it or did they dump sand on it? I feel like that always confused me.
They would throw sand in it and it would change colors.
That's why I was like, no, it wouldn't change colors.
Yeah, they would throw sand in it at the beginning, I think, and then at the end they would dump water on it.
Are you? Yeah, because I can't. I was like, what are they doing? I know they were trying to put out the fire, but I was like, you put out the fire with water, and I think they put sand on it.
Yeah, I think they were like, from Tales of the Midnight Society.
Oh,
this is Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then they would throw sand out and go, oh.
We heard it.
Okay, because you heard that.
I have a question,
George, don't comment on Kevin singing.
He doesn't know what we're talking about. He doesn't have cable.
Oh shit, he might not watch this episode or listen to this episode. We need him.
We should have invited him
Just
and
to
asked him his favorite Nickelodeon shows.
We should have. No, we should. Yeah, we should have invited him, but told him it was going to be something completely different, and then blindside him with Nickelodeon and Disney.
All right, well, let's talk about 2 more Nickelodeon shows. Dennis, what else is on your list?
I had the show Cat Dog.
That is
for
not
some
on my
reason.
list.
I love that show.
Cut that.
Good
oh,
show,
what else
but
is on
there
your
were
list?
so many better shows. I feel
Cat
like
Dog.
I can't pick the other show that I wanted because it's very similar to Keenan and Kel.
What about Pete and Pete?
That's not on the list either.
That was one of my favorites. That show is very 90s.
I would say Doug.
Doug's on mine.
It wasn't on. I had Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, I'd have to pick Doug over Rocco's.
Skeeter
but I like
was so
both.
cool.
Dennis, how many episodes of Rocco's Modern Life can you remember? How many episodes of Doug can you remember?
I was more of a Rocco's guy.
Really? What's the first episode that comes to mind with Rocco?
The one where there's like there's a moat around his house. I don't remember what happened, but there's a moat.
Happen. I recall that.
I can't remember what happened.
It was definitely a more ambitious, wilder show than Doug, but Doug was so grounded in reality, just like a guy who hated liver and onions.
Dude, I was Quail Man like 3 times for Halloween.
Yeah, Owen's a big Doug guy. When I think of Doug, I think of Owen for some reason.
I'm kind of like him. I like that the style that he has, where he has the green sweater vest with a t-shirt that came back in like the last 2 years, and you see a lot of guys wearing that, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to wear that, but I feel like I look too much like Doug.
What was the Doug song?
Beep, beep.
I'm trying to remember it. No, the song, like they had a band in the show. Beat the beats.
Big, think big. Big.
Oh yeah.
And,
think big.
I never eat my cereal because it makes my teeth bacterial.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Too much fat food.
Yeah, that's too much. Killer tofu.
Oh yeah, Killer Tofu.
Oh damn, that's the opening.
Oh,
that has to be opening.
Killer Tofu. The one curveball one I had on my list that I remember watching a ton. This was on the same lineup as All That, Keenan and Kel, Amanda Show. It was Kablam.
Kablam was good.
Dude, that almost made my list.
Kablam with what was the Action League Now? That was pretty iconic.
Oh yeah, and like the cavemen or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That shit when the caveman showed up, I'd be like, "Oh, this is gonna be so good."
Saturday night just got a lot better.
Yeah,
dude, that's like the first robot. It reminds me of Robot Chicken.
Yeah,
kind of. It was like different animation styles and then little sketches.
I just remember Meltman with the power to melt.
Fuck, I forgot about that. That was good.
Yeah, you guys are bringing up good things I forgot about.
All right, well, that's enough blast from the past on Nickelodeon. Anything else you wanted to say about Nickelodeon?
Just rattle off the ones that were on the rest of your list if you have them. So I'll go first. Obviously, All That. No one mentioned that. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah, Legends of the Hidden
Temple.
Temple. We didn't talk about any of the game shows.
Rocket Power and Cousin Skeeter.
Oh, Cousin Skeeter was great. Global Guts was another good one.
Oh, yeah. That was
the game shows. We forgot about the game shows.
Yeah. They were so good.
Figure It Out.
Figure It Out was great.
Really like
shit, with the ones like, I could fit myself through a clothes hanger. And he fit himself through. It wasn't Figure It Out where like you had to figure out their special talent.
Oh, they did have to do that, I think. Yeah.
And one guy's like,
I just remember the big head.
I could fit myself through a clothes hanger. And he fit himself through a clothes hanger.
What a horrible talent. How about Eliza Thornberry?
I like that one. I didn't love it. The Wild Thornberries.
You got something for Eliza, Dennis?
I've certainly seen every episode, but what about As Told by Ginger?
I don't recall that.
Someone once told me the grass is much greater on the other side. Macy Gray did the theme song.
I could tell.
How about the show Recess? Was that?
No, that was a different show.
And then Disney.
That was
Disney's Recess. It's called Disney's Recess.
That was the shit. Whenever I was sick, I'd watch Maury and then I'd watch Recess.
You might be the only person that made that transition.
I think you'd be surprised.
I don't know why my parents let me watch Maury. They thought that wasn't that bad. I couldn't watch. I was going to say Seinfeld. What's the other guy? Jerry Springer. R.I.P.
Yeah.
He's dead, right?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
I
couldn't watch him. I think he is.
Damn. Owen's just here in the news right now.
Wish I could have seen the show.
Brought it up.
All right, let's get into the documentary Quiet on Set. Just as a quick transitional piece, what did you guys think about this being on Max, which is Warner? Like, think of it as Warner Brothers. So basically, like, it kind of makes sense that they're taking a shot at kids' TV. Like, fuck the Disney Channel and fuck Nickelodeon.
Look, I'm just finding out what a straight man is in a show. I don't know anything about Warner or who owns what.
Warner doesn't have a lot of kids programming except for like the Looney Tunes, like very classic television.
Well, they have like the Lego Movie.
They don't have a lot of live action kids stuff.
It's good for them. That's probably where like we're staying away from this because it's full of creeps.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to contain kids.
Max now, if you go watch a documentary on Max, and then I'm like 15 minutes in, and you realize it's like a Discovery documentary, and you're like, I don't want to, like, Max is all fucked up now with all these bad shows.
Yeah, because didn't they buy Discovery or merge?
Discovery bought them, and then their whole plan was to like do exactly what's happening to Dennis, to like sneak their content in between like viewings of The White Lotus.
And you can tell the quality is so much worse, and I look it up and like it's not an HBO show. Yeah. So, but I agree, like they're trying to take shots at Paramount. Right, that's who owns
Paramount.
them.
Yeah, Paramount owns Nickelodeon, and I think if they do a season 2, I bet they could do a whole season on Disney too.
Oh yeah,
with Zendaya and Selena Gomez.
Zendaya?
Was Zendaya touched?
They were all on Disney Channel shows. Like, I'm sure you can dig up some. I mean, documentaries. If there's anything I've ever learned, is you can make a story out of anything.
Dennis laughed at my comment. Like, I was like excited that she did. I was not excited. I was trying to say like that's fucked up. Why would I feel bad? That's
the way you asked. It's like, did she get touched?
Okay, I get it. All right, yeah.
All right. Well,
I was gonna say how. Like, we gotta go ahead.
No, say it.
No, that's good.
Say it.
Nah, I don't think. I feel like he doesn't want to say it. It might be like a thing where he says, "Hey, cut that," and then Kevin doesn't ever cut it.
Okay, so this is a real cut that, but just he's cutting.
No, I was gonna say, like, I was thinking about this topic and how we're kind of a comedy podcast.
I know it's tough.
It's a touchy topic. So.
Very touchy.
Extremely
very
touchy. From what I've heard about
what?
Drake.
What you heard
about Drake is very touchy.
All right, episode 1 is all about all that, and it just introduces Dan Schneider, the producer of all that.
I'm sick of people like his last name is so hard to say. Schneider? Just make it Snyder. I don't like the whole if you were just learning English, that would be a really tough one, in my opinion.
Schneider.
You're only saying that because there was a kid in our grade school who had the last name of Snyder.
Easier, right? Schneider is like a mouthful. It's too slushy.
Is that your only take from the episode?
I don't like it.
All right. Damn. Well, I just wanted to say I liked how this episode opens up, just kind of setting the stage for how culturally important TV was back then. You didn't have YouTube to like pick between a billion different streamers of kids content you could watch. We were still, this is 70 years after television was invented. We were all still watching the exact same shit pretty much. You basically were a Disney or Nickelodeon. We had nothing else to consume.
Yeah, it makes me sad for the boys because they just are on YouTube Shorts, and that like they don't have the TV shows that all their other friends are watching. I'm sure their friends are watching the same YouTubers.
I don't know. It just creates so many different channels, and you lose so much connectivity. Like the fact that we can connect 30 years over this still means something to us. Like they're not going to have that.
Yeah, it's not the same. Because when the internet came out and I started watching like E-Bombs World or stuff like that, I was watching these YouTubers or people that were E-Bombs that I feel like maybe one or two other people watched. But then Dennis was probably watching something else, and so were you, Kevin.
Yeah, you're not going to have that shared nostalgia.
Yeah.
I feel like now the only stuff that people share are like the really, really good stuff. Mm-hmm. And so we had we watched a lot of the stuff that wasn't very good, but we all watched it because it was like the only thing to watch. Yeah.
profound.
Why is the silence after that? Just continue talking.
If you can't tell, we're all just silent and clapping.
It's too good, Dennis. I don't know how to follow it.
All right. I think the other thing this first episode really tries to hammer home is just what the humor was in these All That episodes and Amanda's show and whatnot. Like, and I did not realize this as a kid, but like apparently there were tons of porn references, like so much.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either. And I mean, after they showed it, you're like,
and when they showed it, it's spot on.
But when you're a kid, like, you don't think that at all. You probably think someone getting stuff splashed on their face is genuinely funny.
Yeah.
And that happens in real life. But I can see, like, if you're an adult making that joke, there's no way that's such a fucking tough line to cross. But beyond what else has happened, it's clearly that this guy was a little fucking twisted. So
he was, but like I think it's such a stretch that like you could have a video of Ariana Grande squeezing a potato and then call that like porn.
It was
inspired.
Yeah. It was odd though. I mean, but it was framed in that the way it was framed while we're watching it is very odd. I don't know what it's there because it was like, and if you're watching that without having this whole other thought process, if that came across your mind, you'd be like, "Why are you thinking like that? That's messed up." So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it was like, I want to get a porn reference in. I think it was like, this is sort of a thing I know and like is funny, and like kids will in their own way find it funny, but not because of what it reminds them of.
Yeah.
Like the potato thing, they kept bringing that up over and over again. And I'm like, she's trying to squeeze a potato. Like, it's not a fucking dick reference. Like, I almost felt like some of the people are trying to make it like, look at, it looks like she's holding a dick, but no, like I wouldn't even think that if they didn't tell me
neither.
that.
If they didn't, because they framed it that way. And I mean, when you watch it again, you're like, it really does kind of look like porn, like the way she's sitting in a bed and like, but it's just
the part that were her laying on the bed and splashing water over her. I was like, that is going too far. It's a little girl on there. That was, I think, someone made a fucked up move there.
It was flirting the line between like, is it? Like, I would never say it was blatant. It was never like they're really just trying to like shove porn references on these kids.
But the guy, they caught him literally saying that he wanted to name the one girl Taint. And he's like, this is what you say. Like, I don't like, we need to sneak it in there. So he clearly wanted to sneak in sexual innuendos into a kid's show, which is messed up. But they do that, I feel like, in every Disney movie, or they do it so that way when the parents are watching, they can find some entertainment in it. But like,
True.
To find something that's sexual is fucking, that's weird.
All I know is go ahead, Dennis.
I was going to say so they basically tried to paint Dan Schneider like as this horrible guy, which I think he is a weirdo, but I don't think he's as bad as this documentary says. The one that kind of made me like start to turn on the documentary is when they were talking about the sugar in their mouth.
Yeah.
And how it like coagulated into, they're like, it almost looks like they're spitting out, cum sort of thing. And it's like, no, like,
yeah, some people,
my God, like that's ridiculous.
Right. Like if you're around kids, they do like goofy, weird stuff, like that kind of thing. And like, that's it. That's all it is. It's not anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They love that. If I showed my kids that, they'd be like, "Oh my God, like look at that. It's fucking funny."
Yeah,
they would say,
yeah. I think that's what everybody's forgetting through this lens. It's like that kids do like silly shit. Dennis talked about it earlier. Like his kids, they had a chance to get on Alexa and they requested butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like kids find random shit like feet funny, potatoes funny words. Like Dan Schneider, yes, it's probably you have to be a little fucked up to like know that's what kids would find funny, but like I don't think he's just doing it to like
that's the problem with him.
Exploit
his career is to try to make young kids laugh, and that's weird. That's weird. That's your career. And yes, there's something slightly or hugely off with you if that's like the career path that you're going for and get a ton of enjoyment out of. And but it'd be so tough not to find things that you find funny, like to kind of put them in there and maybe not think through, I don't know,
like that
it's actually inappropriate or not.
I think this the third episode where Drake Bell talks about Dan Schneider, and I don't know if this is in the third or the fourth, but he says that he was the only one that like came to him and consoled him.
Yeah, and didn't write all Brian sort of a note either.
Yeah, didn't write him a note and all. Like, so that kind of changed my. It was so weird because he was talking about how great he was, and the rest of the documentary is how bad he was. And so, like, to me, I do think that the second episode goes into like how he treated women.
Yeah.
Is that the second episode?
I think so.
I feel like we need to preference that we've only watched 3 episodes. Who knows what comes out in the 5th one? What if he just turns out to be such a shit
yeah, that's
guy?
True.
Because he did. But... I will say, and you haven't seen the second episode, but he did treat women pretty poorly. And this was a time where a lot of people were treating women really poorly. Yeah. But he like paid 2 women like half salary and like made them do like
fucked up
derogatory stuff.
So that's where I think that this he's a fucking twisted guy.
I think he's a douche and a dick, but I don't think he's like a pedophile unless I don't know, but something might come out. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, we don't know how we feel. I think that I don't know. I don't think he's a good guy. That's the problem.
Yeah,
or that's the point that we need to say.
But I didn't get the picture that he's a pedophile from this.
Not yet. Or hasn't come out yet. Who knows?
What do you know, Owen? Is this breaking news?
I don't. I literally don't know.
Was there anything else in the first episode that comes to mind from you guys that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, the one lady who's saying that she got like pushed out of her role because she was like chubby and then all of a sudden went through puberty. And I was like,
and then they brought in Amanda Bynes.
I was like, yeah, you just weren't fitting the character,
right?
Like that's not that crazy. You just weren't fitting it anymore, so you had to go. They've replaced you. It literally happens with like every character ever.
It's like, the girl's turning 20 and she wants to be on this kid show.
I can't play it anymore. I'm married, divorced, and I can't be this kid anymore. That was so stupid. I was like, this just made this documentary less. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of a good metaphor for that. Like if somebody like was playing like William Howard Taft and then they lost a bunch of weight and they're like, well, you can't play the fat guy anymore. Like,
oh yeah, I can't. Just because I lost all this weight, I can't be the fat guy anymore.
I don't know. That's probably not the perfect example, but I get what you're saying, Owen.
No, that's
so
good.
Confused. No, I thought that was a college.
Got stuck in the bathtub. You just have the skinny guy in the bathtub. It doesn't work for that scene. Have him playing trying to get out of the tub, but he's a skinny guy with all this room.
Just keeps standing up and slipping. Like this is what actually happened.
Anything else in the first episode, Dennis, that comes to your mind?
It seemed like
now would be a good time to reference your notes.
I have no notes.
I felt like this is a no notes episode for Dennis when he told us that he's got a 4 out of 10 energy level to do this recording.
My energy, I think, is more like at a 7 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're rolling.
Yeah. But what was I going to fucking say? I feel like Dan Schneider came from this very like privileged life. Didn't they say he was going to go to Harvard?
They said his dad was a Harvard grad and that he couldn't himself go to Harvard. He ended up taking some classes there, but definitely was not a Harvard grad.
Yeah. So it seems like a lot of these comedian sort of showrunners kind of follow this sort of path of very privileged to comedians.
I've noticed that too, that trend as well, Dennis. It's like the parent goes to Harvard, they're a doctor, and then the kid just doesn't want to follow the same path. They want to be rebellious, so they become a comedian or a writer or an artist or something. I've noticed that trend at times.
Maybe it's because they can do it and they have a safety net.
That's the thing. I think they have more routes they could take. They aren't like dying to have to make a ton of money. They can make mistakes.
It's just classic, like first generation, second generation, third generation. But this is at like an extreme level of wealth where like, yes, like Dan Schneider's dad is probably, his parents are probably super wealthy, probably went to boarding school and went to Harvard, became some important. I don't know. I'm rambling now, but I get what you're saying, Dennis. Definitely a trend. So continue speaking on that.
That's all I got.
I feel like that was the first time I saw Kevin blank. I've never witnessed Kevin just like not have anything to say, and he rambled like me.
Blank.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I blanked.
Oh, you thought I said blinked?
I think I said blank. I'm like I blink all the time. I'm just spaz.
Kevin stares directly in the camera right into our eyes when we record.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just a couple of quick thoughts on. There were a couple more fucked up things, like the nose boy. That sketch is pretty fucked up. They made the black kid have a big nose.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
the noses on the arm. That was honestly funny. It was, I mean, I don't know. But the kid saying that, I felt for him when he said he was like a kid going through puberty and had to wear a leotard, and it showed like everything. I was like the same way, where I was like, I want people to see,
dude,
like, going to the pool and shit, and like I wanted to do swimming, but I was like, they make you wear those skin tight bathing suits to do swimming. I don't want to do that.
I remember because I wrestled in grade school, and I remember doing that and wearing the singlet, and I just feel like my little like just a little pee-pee like sticking out, and everyone could see it.
Yeah, dude,
basically.
That's good.
And then you'd see other kids, and there would be like a fucking softball down there. Mine's like a shriveled walnut just sitting there.
Okay, wait. I gotta ask you guys one more question about
talking about.
There was one part of the first episode where they were like talking about how Amanda was in the hot tub and Dan Schneider was in there fully clothed, and it was so backwards. They were like criticizing Dan Schneider for being fully clothed in the hot tub. Like, what do you want?
That blew my mind too. And they're like, "Oh, during the time, you probably wouldn't think anything of it," and I'm like, I don't think anything of this now.
Yeah,
just because because they're underwater.
Yeah,
with like 100 people around them,
and she's wearing like a one-piece bathing suit, and he is like in full clothes, and they're like, "How can she be in a bathing suit, and how can he be fully clothed?" I'm like,
This is where I think there's got to be more that this guy did. That's where I'm thinking, like, maybe. I mean, he's a misogynist guy, right? That's the right word.
Yeah,
nailed it.
Yeah.
All right, just wasn't good. So I think that they're just saying like everything that he does, and if it's even remotely, if you could pick a little bit off of it, they're gonna go for him. So
why do you think Amanda Bynes is totally? Have you guys like been keeping up with her?
Oh wait, didn't she?
Or like,
you know what?
She's like totally happened. Insane now.
Yeah, I think something actually happened though. So I think someone has a rumor that he impregnated her. Is that what happened?
I've heard that too. I saw that recently on Twitter.
So everything we said earlier about the guy, if that's true,
I'd also say this. I mean, they showed Drake's dad. That guy couldn't have been any more normal, at least in my opinion, right now. Where they showed Amanda Bynes' dad, who wanted her to be a freaking film famous rich person from the days. Like, I think that's got to weigh on you. Drake's dad seems so normal.
Did he had a ponytail at like 60 years old with the mustache?
He reminded me of True Detective, Russ Cole.
Yeah, it was Russ Cole.
Like,
my hero?
Yeah, so that's why Kevin likes him. Kevin's like, that guy was sick.
And this might go over your head, but I just want to ring through a couple beats on episode 2 really quick, and Dennis chime in. They introduced this guy named Jason Handy, who basically like sent naked pictures to one of the
I bet Handy
young
did.
girls. Definitely showed that there was to be a pattern of misbehavior on these programs. They did some really terrible little fetus sketch on or All That, which was like the world's youngest rapper, and it was a black kid wearing like a fetus costume. I think that's when they were talking about the leotard.
I remember seeing that live. That shit was fire.
All right, 2 more things. Oh, the Fear Factor. They basically showed that they were subjecting these kids to like a Fear Factor like thing on TV, which is kind of fucked up. I know, but like as an adult, like please, by all means, if you want to go degrade yourself on Fear Factor and you're 21 years or older, amazing. But like, forcing a 12-year-old to do that kind of stuff is pretty fucked up.
We fucking went to haunted houses. I was scared out of my fucking mind.
At 12,
like, it's fun.
Yeah, I wanted to do Fear Factor shit. That sounded amazing. Yeah. When I'm 18, there's no way I want to do that anymore.
They're like, oh wait, you're gonna go on TV and people are gonna fucking love you. You're gonna be the most popular fucking person, and you got to do this crazy shit.
You guys sold me.
It's kind of scary.
All right. My next note on episode 2 is I did not like the girl, the main journalist behind this, how she kept forcing her way onto the camera to give her little spiel. Do you know what I'm talking about? She was like a blonde girl. Her name was Kate Taylor, and she kept being like, this is why it's bad. Like she would like force herself onto camera, even though she had nothing else to add. Does this ring a bell at all, Dennis?
It rings a bell for me. It's like there's this girl exists everywhere. You know?
Oh yeah, just woke.
Yeah.
And then the last, which I think is pretty telling, is when they reveal that this Brian Peck guy, who is the main person behind episode 3, was a pen pal of John Wayne Gacy, like the famous serial killer. That is insanity.
That actually happened in that?
Yes. I think they talk about it a little bit in episode 3 or 4. Basically, like all that kids went to Brian Peck's house. Owen,
wait, I'm gonna watch episode 2.
Okay, okay. All right. Episode 3 was phenomenal, and I thought Drake Bell, well, phenomenal in terms of entertainment.
Oh, God.
Like the worst way to describe it,
dude. I would not use phenomenal as the word choice.
It was chef's kiss.
Finally, Kevin's interested. All right.
What did you guys think of Drake Bell?
Dude, that outfit was crazy.
I didn't notice it.
What? He wore a teal Henley shirt with a teal
I did notice that. It was very distracting. Like, and Henley was like 6 buttons deep.
Yeah, what? Yeah. Who told him to put that outfit on? That just distracted me too much. But Dennis, I'll let you give your whole take.
So Josh Peck has been he was a Viner. He got like famous on Vine again. Mm-hmm. And then like TikTok. And then he was just in the movie Drake and Josh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The other one.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't know if there's any relation to him and Brian Peck.
That's what I got confused. I didn't know that was his last name.
But he was in Oppenheimer recently. Mm-hmm. And for years, he talked about how Drake is a douchebag, like wouldn't talk to him after it and like all this sort of stuff. And as soon as this came out, now everyone hates Josh Peck and like loves Drake. And it's just interesting how that flip-flopped. And I feel like when this came out, like the Drake thing, I thought it was a different documentary. So when I started this documentary, I thought it was all about Dan Schneider. And I'm like, whoa. And then they have this Drake stuff because it kind of came out of the blue. Like they don't mention him at all until the 3rd episode.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the big reveal, though. Like we have a big name to come here and give an expose.
Yeah.
I agree, though, Dennis. It is crazy how you can just swing the hate mob so easily. Like, who knows if any of this even happened to Drake? Dude, maybe it was just a really good PR campaign.
And people didn't know it was him. It was all sealed. So, like, the fact that I'm sure Drake was a dick to him because he was going through so much shit. So, the fact that people would turn and be like, Josh, you're such an asshole. How'd you not know? It's like, no one fucking knew. So
yeah, it sounds like he was on drugs and like...
He is smart to not reveal it at the time because I think it would have completely changed the vibe of that show. Like it would come out, your parents would know. The show probably wouldn't have lasted as long, which is kind of fucked up. But yeah, he's smart. Now looking back, it's like, whoa, that happened to him before he even filmed the pilot of it.
That's the crazy part. I was like, man, so that whole entire show, that was already...
He's just keeping this under wraps. It's kind of wild, man,
it feels so
I
bad.
recently saw a video of Josh Peck. This was a few years ago before this came out. And they were like doing content together. He asked them about his first time having sex.
Oh, God.
And like he answers it. And you could tell he's really uncomfortable.
Wait, say that again? Who?
Josh Peck asked Drake about his first time having sex. And he's like really uncomfortable about it. And he's like kind of talking about it, but like with his girlfriend. But you can tell he wants to change the subject sort of thing. So like you could tell this guy had no clue that this happened.
I would say like I came away like really empathizing with Drake Bell, whether or not I don't know anything he says is true or what's real or not. But like I thought like his delivery and the heart he put into it just seemed very sincere, and I am definitely on his side for this.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about Brian Peck a little bit?
I don't know what I mean.
I'll keep it pretty
right? that's what we got to say.
There's a couple superficial things I'd like to point out. I love that his job is a dialogue coach.
I didn't get that.
Yeah,
what was
like,
that?
I didn't know that was a thing.
He had a hand in everything, like, but he's just a dialogue
really
coach.
He really did have a hand in everything.
But yeah, he's a dialogue coach, and there's one part that actually made me laugh out loud. They're like,
okay, LOL, let's hear it. Quiet the set, LOL. Kevin, go ahead.
Drake.
Oh
Drake
shit! I
is
forgot
talking.
that was the name of the documentary too.
Oh, you thought I was. Just
Yeah, I was like,
telling you to be
damn,
quiet.
good call. That nice little touch there, Dennis.
Okay, so this is a very internal LOL because like it wasn't meant to be
Just
funny.
don't say LOL then.
No,
If
it
it's
wasn't.
internal LOL.
Dude, it was an LOL though.
This is a laugh out loud internally
and
to myself.
Yeah, and ILOL.
Okay, it wasn't intended to be funny, but it made me laugh out loud because Drake is basically talking about the credentials of Brian Peck. He's like, this guy is a dialogue coach. He told me he worked with Leo DiCaprio. And I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty legit. And about 12 to 25 or like 20 minutes later, they cut to him working with Leonardo DiCaprio on the show Growing Pains, which was like this like 90s sitcom. So like I pictured him like working with Leo like at something like really important. But no, he was just working with him as like a kid on another kid's show where he was probably
working with him on the Grape movie.
Yeah, exactly.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Yeah. Like I just pictured him like working with him on like what's that movie like Catch Me If You Can, but then also I'm like, oh, he's working with him as like a 12-year-old kid. Yeah. Like that's not working with him. Yeah. But they basically just paint this guy out to be an absolute evil person, and they do a very good job of it. Just the way they talk about him inviting him to trips on Disneyland was just
so
like
so
creepy.
Fucking like that's new. Like that is telltale sign. Is that how the fuck do you say that? Telltale.
Yeah.
Telltale sign of a pedophile. Disneyland. Taking a kid to Disneyland that isn't your kid.
And it was never just illegal. It was him and a group of guys that would take him to Disneyland.
Yeah,
illegal.
First of all, have you guys seen, like, I go to this Chick-fil-A by me sometimes and there's a play thing, so my kids go play in it. And a lot of high schoolers go there. Have you seen like a 15-year-old high school? They just seem like the most annoying sort of person that you could ever be around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like it would drive me insane. Like they're saying bra. I fucking hate that.
So dumb.
Yeah. But I feel like the dad knew right away. And like,
so you guys didn't like the dad?
I know, I like the dad.
I do. He did. Feel like he could have done more, but it's always a situation where you put yourself in their shoes and you think you're like, yeah, what would I do differently?
He's surely a flawed person, but like he just was trying to spend time with his kid, and like his kid wanted to do this, so like he would take his kid to do that, and then he kind of saw some weird stuff happening, but he doesn't want to, ruin his time with this kid.
His marriage was already ruined. He didn't want to ruin something else, so I think he kind of like. I don't know. It's tough to say. In hindsight, he could have done more and been like, you're done acting. We're going to pull you out, do something else, go somewhere else. We'll figure it out. But yeah.
It is kind of crazy in contrast to like just how quickly it comes to a halt with like when Drake's girlfriend's mom finds out and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
He's doing what? Like,
yeah.
And I thought that was like, she is like my hero.
Dude,
Drake, just fucking hearing something and acting on it like that.
It seems so obvious. Like imagine if you had a kid and a 40-year-old man was calling him over and over again.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. And the guy's such a fucking idiot that he like didn't realize that, or he lives in such a bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's like, I'm doing this in plain sight all the time. I'm never going to get caught. So it doesn't matter. But probably because he's around a lot of other fucking fucked up people. So
yeah,
I don't know. His mom, though, Drake's mom, like, why wasn't she around? She just let him sleep over at this 40-year-old guy's house every single night for like God knows how long.
They don't know what the business is like. As far as they're aware, this is normal, maybe.
Yeah, especially back then, I guess. I feel like it's always been around.
Dude, your kid, you imagine your parents being like, yeah, we're just going to drop him off, let him sleep here for months on end, and I'm not taking him up to Hollywood because that's too far. My parents would never do that. Your parents wouldn't do that either.
But if you were like on a show and then now you have your own show, and like this is your coach, I think the context, this is year after year of like being in this weird world compared to Strongsville, Ohio.
Right. And they also grew up in Hollywood where like everybody has a little bit of ambitions to like be something. I don't know.
No,
it's just
dude.
different setting.
His dad had the right thing where he's like, I was always there. I was always in front. He knew that shit could get screwed up. His dad told the mom, like, this guy's weird. Keep him away from him. She vetted him and been like, he's crazy. And then just let him sleep at his house all the time. So, I don't know. She was too overly woke. Probably. She's like, yeah, he's just gay, so I'll let him stay with the old man.
Yeah, maybe.
That's Come on, true. Guys. Get with me on this train.
All right, I have 2 more things on this episode 3. It's kind of crazy to think about Drake just being hungover or effed up on that show that we watched as a kid, because it sounds like he was doing drugs while he was like filming this. Like I would have never.
I thought it was more after. I thought it was more.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was during.
I think he probably was dabbling with some stuff at least during, and then he definitely was.
Maybe it got a little bit overboard. Like, yeah, like it's kind of like going to high school and doing drugs.
Yeah, because he said like when he was acting, he like completely forgot about it. So I think that that was helping out. I think it was after the show ended is where it really got bad because he didn't have an outlet.
It is interesting too. He came from a very non-comedic background. And like now I see it more of him playing this character than like when I was little, being like, oh, this guy's actually funny. Where he's just like, no, he's not funny at all. He doesn't seem like he's funny at all, but he's
he's a good actor.
Kid actor, yeah.
That's a good point, Dennis. Yeah. He's probably got a lot more chops than you gave him credit for at the time.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he is a great actor because there was one moment during this, well, maybe either he's a great actor or he's very good at sharing his emotions, because there is one jaw-dropping moment during this documentary in the first 3 episodes, and it's when they ask him about the details of the sexual assault, and he's just like can't speak, and he's just like, just imagine the worst thing anybody could possibly do.
You thought that was acting?
I know, no. I'm saying if it wasn't, if it is acting, no. If I'm saying if it was acting, like he's give him the
whoa, what?
Give him the Oscar, because it was like, whoa, that was like jaw dropping, like hard to watch.
Yeah, I don't think it was acting at all.
I will go on record. I too don't think it was acting.
I was going to say the acting that
Dennis
I thought he was probably. Dennis said before the show, "I'm no matter what I say."
Dennis is holding up Dennis is holding up an Oscar.
Oh yeah. We'll put it on the Instagram.
Dennis, we'll put
no, please don't.
There is a part where he had to call Brian Peck, and they were recording it.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, that's where I was like, oh man, this is where his acting skills are really going to have to come into play. But he didn't.
That's what Kevin was trying to say.
But he didn't have to act. He just asked like, what's going on. That was it. So other than the guy's like, am I being recorded? He had to play that off. And like, imagine being an actor. You'd be like, I can nail this right now.
He also had to like come from it from a standpoint of like, hey man, I'm just trying to process all of this stuff that's happening, to get him to speak. That does take some acting work in order to like frame it that way.
Yeah, that was pretty good for you, Kevin.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
Dennis, let's hear yours.
What?
You're
trying to get us to
pretend like you're
confess.
Calling on it. It's like,
hey man, just calling to see you.
That was good. It was good. It was good.
I did it.
I can.
All right.
You did it?
I did it all.
All right, let me try.
You fucker.
Oh wait.
you got me. You got me good.
All right.
You guys got anything else on this?
Wait,
or do you want to go?
I want to try.
Okay, Owen. All right, ring. Hey, hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up, dude?
I'm just trying to process all that's been going on. Like, what really happened?
Yeah, man, that was pretty shitty of me. I know.
Yeah.
Owen's crying.
That got too real. I was like, I don't know what to say next. So I was gonna say like, you did it. You
say you did it.
Yeah.
Say it.
I did it. I confessed everything.
Oh man, that sucks.
You got him.
Yeah. But could you imagine having to call with all those people around? You haven't said anything to anyone. All you did was tell your mom. He couldn't say it on the cameras, the only time he couldn't act or get something out, he was able to do it then. That would have been really fucking hard. But fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. let's end it on that. My final thoughts are I've heard the ramblings about this documentary for a few weeks now. I thought it was just going to be some like overhyped doc stuff, but the nostalgia effect plus the true crime plus the like, it is a good documentary, and I am very glad I watched it. I need to finish it. I'm excited to finish it.
Yeah, me too.
Dennis?
Yeah, it was interesting to see Dan Schneider, and I feel like I wasn't a big fan of his show specifically.
The Amanda Show? You didn't like that?
Not really.
I'm gonna hit you upside the head with the fish.
I hate that. I actually hate that. And the dancing, bring in the lobsters.
Amanda, please.
I hated it. Yeah,
Penelope
I never
Bates.
liked that, but I would watch it. See, that was like
shit.
It was the only thing on. So
yeah, I loved it.
But it was interesting to see how like one guy's humor has like shaped an entire culture of people.
True.
So I was more interested in the Dan Schneider part than the Drake Pell. It's horrible, but like I don't like all the details and stuff.
No, it's a tough pill to swallow.
You've always been a Dan Schneider fan, Stan. You know.
Yeah, unless he did something.
I'm very curious to see what the long-term trajectory of this Dan Schneider guy is. Is he going to come off clean, or is he going to be in prison?
Here's the problem.
He could
this
go either
podcast is going to come out. This is like going to be a long episode. He's going to be the worst of them all, and we're going to be like, not that bad. So we need to know that everyone listening, we didn't see all of it yet. So